the biggest and most economically significant trade deal that the UK has made since leaving the EU. And I think I can say that it's one of the most comprehensive deals that India has ever done. So thank you, Prime Minister, for your leadership and for your pragmatism. And I'd like to thank everybody who's worked so hard to get this deal over the line.
और आज ये जो बहुत बड़ी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव डील कामयाब की है, उसके लिए मैं आपको बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया कहना चाहता हूँ प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब। और ये दोनों टीम जहाँ काम करके ये जो काम पूरा किया है, इसके लिए मैं बहुत खुशी हूँ।
And you know, as I've said before, and as we were just discussing in our tête-à-tête, we've entered a new global era, and that is one that requires us to step up, not to stand aside, to deliver for the British people by building deeper partnerships and alliances. And today is very much confirmation of that approach.
और अभी वहाँ पे बात जब कर रहे थे आपके साथ बैठ के हमने बातें की कि नई ग्लोबल एरा पैदा करनी है और इसके लिए हमको सब कुछ करना है जो हम सक्षम हैं, जिसके बाद ब्रिटिश लोगों को यहाँ पे बहुत ही बड़ी पार्टनरशिप मिलेगी आपके देश से, और यहाँ पे हम करने वाले हैं उससे दोनों देशों को फायदा होगा.
And the UK has been negotiating a deal like this for many years, but it is this government that got it done. And with it, we're sending a very powerful message that Britain is open, and that is already generating huge confidence. Today we're announcing nearly £6 billion in investment and export wins between India and the United Kingdom, creating over 2,200 jobs for British workers.
और ये जो ऐसी नेगोशिएशन मैं पहले बहुत की है, पर ये जो अभी हमने किया है ये बहुत ही बड़ा होगा, क्योंकि ब्रिटिश लोगों को
Just for clarification here, the news conference is being held with translation intermittently, so Sir Keir Starmer is saying a few words and that's being translated for the benefit of the Indian press corps and also the Indian Prime Minister and audiences back in India. So let's listen in again when we hear Sir Keir Starmer start up again. He's been talking about this deal and saying that it's the biggest and most significant trade deal since leaving the EU, and he's thanked the Indian Prime Minister for his leadership and also saying that it's talking about the number of jobs that it will help establish in the UK, 2,200 jobs. Let's listen in.
Collaboration with India. We have unique bonds of history, of family, and we want to strengthen our relationship further so that it is even more ambitious, modern and focused on the long term, the step up in the relationship that we discussed in the autumn of last year. And that's why, alongside this trade deal, I am delighted that we're building on our partnership by launching our India-UK Vision 2035 strategy, pledging to work more closely on areas such as defence, migration, climate, education and health.
और इस सुबह जब हमने बात की थी कि एक आपस के साथ कोलैबोरेट करेंगे, इससे ये साबित होता है कि
And just an apology also for the quality of the line. There's been a few problems with the feed coming out of Chequers this morning, so some sound distortion on there with the Prime Minister outlining the significance of this deal and also mentioning that they are working on areas of defence, migration, education and health as well for the long term, alongside the trade deal and the investments that are being announced today. $6.5 billion worth is the size of this deal that's being agreed.
We will also build on the fantastic work we already do in technology and innovation, celebrating the one-year anniversary of the landmark Technology Security Initiative and making the most of the opportunities it represents for both of our countries.
और टेक्नोलॉजी और इनोवेशन के क्षेत्र में भी अभी पहली एनिवर्सरी मनाया है जो हमने, वो टेक्नोलॉजी इनोवेशन सिक्योरिटी के आधार पे है और ये आगे बढ़ेगा, इसका पूरा विश्वास है।
Mr. Prime Minister, we've had much to talk about today and much to celebrate. And I look forward to our continued work together as we strengthen security, growth and prosperity for working people in both of our nations. So let me now hand over to you to say a few words, and thank you again for your leadership on this.
Thank you. Thank you. प्रधानमंत्री स्टारमर, फ्रेंड्स, नमस्कार.
Prime Minister Starmer, friends, namaskar, good morning.
सबसे पहले मैं प्रधानमंत्री स्टारमर के गर्मजोशी भरे स्वागत सत्कार के लिए हार्दिक आभार व्यक्त करता हूं. आज हमारे संबंधों में एक ऐतिहासिक दिवस है. मुझे प्रसन्नता है कि कई वर्षों की मेहनत के बाद आज दोनों देशों के बीच कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट संपन्न हुआ है.
First of all, let me extend my heartfelt gratitude to Prime Minister Starmer for the warm welcome and gracious hospitality. Today marks a historic day in our bilateral relations. I am pleased to note that after many years of hard work, the comprehensive economic and trade agreement between our two countries has been concluded today.
यह समझौता मात्र आर्थिक साझेदारी नहीं, बल्कि साझा समृद्धि की योजना है. एक और भारतीय टेक्सटाइल, फुटवियर, जेम्स एंड ज्वेलरी, सी फूड और इंजीनियरिंग गुड्स को यूके में बेहतर मार्केट एक्सेस मिलेगा. भारत के एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस और प्रोसेस्ड फूड इंडस्ट्री के लिए यूके की मार्केट में नए अवसर बनेंगे. भारत के युवाओं, किसानों, मछुआरों और एमएसएमई सेक्टर के लिए यह समझौता विशेष रूप से लाभकारी
Apologies for the sound distortion on this news conference between Sir Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, and the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, as they announced this big deal that they've announced, a trade deal worth £6 billion. Let's have a listen to the translation again now.
But is also a blueprint for our shared prosperity. On the one hand, Indian textiles, footwear, gems and jewellery, seafood, engineering goods will get better market access in the UK. Indian agricultural products, processed food industry will find new opportunities in UK's market. This agreement will prove especially beneficial for India's youth, farmers, fishermen and MSME sector. On the other hand, people and industries in India will be able to access products made in the UK, such as medical devices and aerospace parts at affordable and attractive prices.
इस समझौते के साथ ही डबल कंट्रीब्यूशन कन्वेंशन पर भी सहमति बनी है. इससे दोनों के सर्विस सेक्टर, विशेषकर टेक्नोलॉजी और फाइनेंस के उसको एक नई ऊर्जा मिलेगी. ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को गति मिलेगी. कॉस्ट ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस घटेगा और कॉन्फिडेंस ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस बढ़ेगा. साथ ही यूके की अर्थव्यवस्था को भारतीय स्किल्ड टैलेंट मिलेगा. इन समझौतों से दोनों देशों में निवेश बढ़ेगा और रोजगार के नए अवसर बनेंगे. इतना ही नहीं, दो लोकतांत्रिक देशों और विश्व की दो बड़ी इकोनॉमीज के बीच हुए यह समझौते वैश्विक स्थिरता और समृद्धि को भी बल देंगे।
Along with this agreement, we also have reached a consensus on the Double Contribution Convention. This will inject new energy into the service sectors of both countries, especially in technology and finance. It will promote ease of doing business, reduce cost of doing business, and increase the confidence of doing business. Additionally, UK's economy would benefit from India's skilled talent. These agreements will enhance investments and generate new employment opportunities in both countries. Moreover, as agreements reached between two democracies and two of the world's major economies, they will lend support to global stability and global prosperity.
Friends, अगले दशक में हमारी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को नई गति और ऊर्जा देने के लिए विजन 2035 जारी किया जा रहा है। यह टेक्नोलॉजी, डिफेंस, क्लाइमेट, एजुकेशन और पीपल टू पीपल कनेक्ट के क्षेत्रों में एक मजबूत, भरोसेमंद और महत्वाकांक्षी साझेदारी का रोड मैप बनेगा।
Friends, to give new momentum and energy to our comprehensive strategic partnership in the coming decade, today we are launching our Vision 2035. Vision 2035 is a roadmap that will form the basis of a strong, trustworthy, and ambitious partnership in the fields of technology, defense, climate, education, and people-to-people connect.
डिफेंस और सिक्योरिटी में साझेदारी के लिए डिफेंस इंडस्ट्रियल रोड मैप बनाया गया है। हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी सिक्योरिटी इनिशिएटिव को और मजबूत करने पर काम किया जाएगा। इट इज अवर कमिटमेंट दैट फ्रॉम एआई टू क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स, सेमीकंडक्टर्स टू साइबर सिक्योरिटी, we shall create the future together.
A defense industrial roadmap has also been drawn up for partnership in defense and security. Work will continue on strengthening our technology security initiative. It is our commitment that from AI to critical minerals, from semiconductors to cybersecurity,
शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में भी दोनों देश मिलकर एक नया चैप्टर लिख रहे हैं। यूके की 6 यूनिवर्सिटीज भारत में कैंपस खोल रही हैं।
Just a reminder, if you're just joining us here on BBC News, we're watching a news conference with the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Narendra Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, as they announce what they've described as a historic day for the two countries, the signing of a trade deal which is set to be worth £6 billion in investment for the British economy. Let's have a listen back in.
Just last week, the University of Southampton inaugurated its campus in the city of Gurugram in India.
Friends, पहलगाम में हुए आतंकवादी हमले की कठोर निंदा के लिए हम प्रधानमंत्री स्टारमर और उनकी सरकार का आभार व्यक्त करते हैं। हम एक मत हैं कि आतंकवाद के खिलाफ लड़ाई में दोहरे मापदंडों का कोई स्थान नहीं है।
So some of the sectors being mentioned there, university sector, where deals are expected also to continue, because this is not just a trade deal, but also an attempt to establish larger ties on issues like, or better ties on issues like education, migration and organised crime. Those are part of what's being discussed as well today.
Must be held account. Economic offenders के प्रत्यार्पण के विषय पर भी हमारी एजेंसी सहयोग और समन्वय से काम करती रहेगी।
Friends, we thank the Prime Minister and his government for strong condemnation of the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. We are united in the belief that there is no place for double standards in the fight against terrorism. We also agree that the forces which espouse extremist ideologies should not be allowed to misuse democratic freedoms. Those who misuse democratic freedoms to undermine democracy itself must be held to account. our security agencies will continue to enhance cooperation and coordination on matters such as the extradition of economic offenders.
Friends, इंडो-पैसिफिक में शांति और स्थिरता, यूक्रेन में चल रहे संघर्ष और पश्चिम एशिया की स्थिति पर हम विचार साझा करते रहे हैं। हम जल्द से जल्द शांति और स्थिरता की बहाली का समर्थन करते हैं। सभी देशों की संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता का सम्मान अनिवार्य है। आज के युग की मांग विस्तारवाद नहीं, विकासवाद ही है।
Friends, we have continued to exchange views on peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, and the situation in West Asia. We support early restoration of peace and stability. Respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries is essential. Today's era demands development, not expansionism.
Friends, पिछले महीने अहमदाबाद में हुई दुर्घटना में मारे गए लोगों में कई यूके के नागरिक भाई बहन भी थे। उनके परिवार वालों के प्रति हम संवेदनाएं प्रकट करते हैं। यूके में रहने वाले भारतीय मूल के लोग हमारे संबंधों में एक लिविंग ब्रिज का काम करते हैं। They did not just bring curry from India, but also creativity, commitment and character. इनका योगदान सिर्फ यूके की समृद्ध इकोनॉमी तक सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि यूके के कल्चर, स्पोर्ट्स और पब्लिक सर्विस में भी दिखता है।
Friends, last month in the unfortunate plane crash in Ahmedabad, our sisters and brothers of the UK were among those who lost their lives. I would like to express my deepest condolences to the families of the victims. The people of Indian origin in the UK form a living bridge that connects our two nations. They did not just bring curry from India, but also creativity, commitment, and character. Their immense contributions are not just limited to UK's prosperous economy, but are also visible in UK's culture, sports, and public service.
Friends, जब भारत और यूके मिले और वह भी टेस्ट सीरीज के दौरान,
The Indian Prime Minister there mentioning the air crash in Ahmedabad recently that was so deadly and paying tribute to some of the victims of that crash and the strength of ties between the two countries that have been so present for so many years.
And also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building high-scoring, solid partnership. आज संपन्न हुए समझौते और विजन 2035 इसी स्पिरिट को आगे बढ़ाने वाले माइलस्टोन है।
Friends, I would be remiss not to mention cricket when India and the UK are coming together, especially during a test series. For both of us, cricket is not just a game, but a passion. And also a great metaphor for our partnership. There may be a swing and a miss at times, but we always play with a straight bat. We are committed to building a high-scoring, solid partnership. The agreements concluded today and Vision 2035 are milestones which advance this very spirit.
प्रधानमंत्री जी, मैं एक बार फिर
So the Prime Minister there alluding to the ancient cricket love between the two countries, mentioning that the test is underway at the moment and saying there may be a swing and a miss sometimes in the relationship, but we always play with a straight bat. And it's not just a game, but a passion, and they're hoping to bring that kind of energy into the business relationship as well.
बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद।
Prime Minister, I thank you once again for your warm hospitality. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend an equally warm invitation to you to visit India. I am eagerly looking forward to hosting you in India very, very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you.
The Indian Prime Minister there ending his remarks with an invitation to the British Prime Minister to travel to India and visit him as well. As you know, this meeting is being held at Chequers, which is the country residence of the Prime Minister. It seems like they're not taking questions from the media there. Let me bring in Regini Anand, who's been watching all this with me. So, Regini, what did you make of the news conference there?
First of all, it's not surprising he's not taking questions. I did mention before, Prime Minister Modi doesn't really address journalists at news conferences, so that's not a surprise. I mean, let's not undersell this. This is a hugely significant moment for the UK and India. Prime Minister Starmer describing this as a landmark deal. In essence, it really does reduce the barriers of trade between the two countries. And I've covered these trade negotiations for a number of years when I was based in India. And there's been so many sticking points. So the overall picture is that they've overcome those hurdles. Not completely. There are some things that I suspect over the years some Indians would have liked to have seen, for example, a post-study work visa for students. But there's definitely some movement on some immigration things. Well, they wouldn't say immigration, but they're saying, for example, that this deal now eases mobility for Indian professionals in the UK, for example, on a short-term basis more than a long-term one. Business mobility is the phrase that they've used on that. Also allows yoga instructors, musicians and chefs from India to come under a quota, for example. The big ticket stuff in terms of tariffs, I mean, the broader perspective is India's always been a high tariff economy more generally. Now the British government is saying, for example, that those tariffs overall drop from 15% to 3%. So that really does allow UK business to sell more freely in India. One of the things that isn't as ideal for some UK businesses is whisky. The tariff is still quite high. It has been halved from 150% to 75%. And over the next 10 years, that is set to reduce to 40%. But it is significant because it's been one of the many sticking points there. But I think overall, both sides will be very pleased that they've not just done this for the economic reasons, but the symbolism of this partnership between the two countries. Of course, India, once a colonial country, India ruled by the UK. Now some commentators saying that the colonial script has been rewritten.
Thanks, Regini. Let's speak to our South Asia correspondent, Yugita Limai, who's in Mumbai. And we got some of the detail, didn't we, of how important it is for Indian businesses as well.
That's right. I mean, we've heard Prime Minister Narendra Modi calling it a historical milestone, saying it's a really ambitious deal and that this is really, as they're calling it, it's a comprehensive economic and trade agreement with the UK. What the Indian government is very keen to say to people here is that this is a deal that's going to benefit farmers and it's going to benefit medium and small scale manufacturers, in particular textile manufacturers who will be able to have zero duty exports to the UK, footwear manufacturers, gems and jewellery, frozen seafood. We have actually had reaction from Raymond, which is one of India's biggest textile producers and a big exporter to the UK, which says that this is a really positive deal for them. The UK for them is the second largest market, so they're expecting to get new customers as well as more orders from their existing customers. And a key thing that they say is that this deal now puts them on par with countries like Bangladesh, which already have zero duty imports to the UK. But of course, one key sticking point for many years was visas for Indian professionals, workers, students. We haven't seen anything of that in this deal, so one wonders if that's where the Indian delegation compromised.
Yugita Limai, thank you very much indeed.